Welcome and thank you for tuning into the 412 Double Play podcast. We had All-Star break and an intriguing draft class, which we'll talk about today. But I am, as always, your host, Michael Castrogano. Joining me, my co-host and Double Play partner, Ed Wassel. Ed, All-Star break, couple days off, team gets a chance to reset. We talked a little bit before the show. Your thoughts on the All-Star break being in the middle of the season and the impact to these players?
I mean, there's really no impact at all other than, I don't know, maybe there's incentives if you make the All-Star team. But I mean, it's nice to be in the middle of the season to give everyone else a little bit of a break, get their batteries recharged.
Yeah, we definitely had some players who needed the time off to get reset, and some players who it did not benefit. We didn't have any transactions this week. We thought Ryan Baracchi was going to be back. He was in the clubhouse, but I guess that was just for a checkup, and his flight got delayed because, IT issues this past week were kind of wonky. But All-Star game, obviously, got super high ratings. Clearly all because everybody loves Pittsburgh. Paul Skeens started, faced 4 batters, no hits and a walk. As Ed would argue, it shouldn't have even been a walk, should have been a strikeout, but
Should have been a
neither here
strikeout.
nor there. Brian Reynolds comes in as a replacement. He went 1 for 2, got a single in his first at bat, strikeout in his second one. Unfortunately, that ended the game. But Ed, All-Star game, baseball, I don't know. I think in a lot of other sports, it's not taken seriously. And maybe baseball is the same. There's been times where it's been taken very seriously by players. I think Pete Rose back in the 70s, leveled the catcher running home. But your thoughts on the All-Star game and what it means overall to players, fans, baseball in general?
Yeah, I think like you mentioned, it kind of mixes in with every other sports version of the All-Star game now, where no one takes it serious. NBA All-Star game is like 300 points scored. NFL Pro Bowl, which is after the season's over, no one cares. It's flag football now.
Yep.
Hockey, there's a ton of goals scored. Like, people watch that other stuff for like skills competitions, which baseball doesn't do. I think they used to.
They used to. They do it for the minor leagues. There's a skills competition. Tamar Johnson was in it last week.
That would probably draw a lot more attention than just the game itself, because it's pointless now.
Yeah.
Japan, at least it used to decide the home team for the World Series. Now that's not even a thing.
Yeah, that was weird, because sometimes you get situations like, who was it? Like Wainwright wanted to give Jeter a pitch to hit, and Jeter hit a home run. It was something weird where it ended up deciding the butterfly effect had on the World Series. Yeah, skills competition I think is interesting. I don't really watch any of this stuff. I am pretty strictly, unfortunately, a one team fan. I followed along online to see what Skeens was doing, what Reynolds was doing, but other than that, I would watch the home run derby, like back when Kutch was in it, when Pedro Alvarez was in it. It was interesting. They both did awful. Kind of regretted it, but I don't know.
Yeah, Bell didn't do good either when he was in it.
Bell was bad. I forgot Bell was in it. Did he get any? He got 0, right?
No. He had to hit at least 1.
You would think. You look that up, because or I'll look it up after I ask you your next question.
I'll look it up right now, but I'm listening.
Okay. All right. Well, the next thing, Domingo Germán signed this past offseason during spring training. Kind of a conflicted pitcher in baseball. He opted out of his contract, had an opt-out. He decided to go with that. And then he re-signed on a minor league contract with another opt-out next month. So he, in his minor league stint with the Indianapolis Indians, was 4-4 with a 5.13 ERA in 54.1 innings. And obviously some baggage. But he's got the most recent perfect game in MLB history. There's only been 28 of those, something like that. And he's been a productive pitcher on the mound in the bigs at times when he's sober. Is this a good thing or a bad thing to keep him in the system?
I mean, it's good for depth. Said he's got a track record of being successful at times. So, I mean, there isn't a ton of starting depth right now, really. Not anyone that's that close that they get called up.
I mean,
Like
right now, I
Ashcraft is on
think,
an inning limit.
sure. Yep.
You have Priester he's pitched out of the pen the past couple of times.
Yeah, he only pitched 1 inning this past outing, too.
And then Jones is shut down for a while, so well, you have to have some sort of depth in the minors.
As a just in case, like if you need to have a parachute when you're flying in an airplane, it's good to have one even if it has a couple holes in it. Because this is what we've got. We've got a parachute with some holes in it, and it's a little bit wet from the bottle it spilled. But it's a parachute. It's something. It's better than nothing. It'll slow you down if worse comes to worse and you have to pull that drawstring. I'm mixed on it. I thought that his signing initially was great, and then his comments were awful, and then his performance has made that even worse. But that maybe he can figure something out, turn things around. Who knows? But weekly recap: we have this home series against the Phillies, best team in town, coming to face the Pirates. Most of the team got the week off, and the rotation thrown out for the series did not instill confidence in the hearts and minds of many fans on social media. However, not yet, however. Martin Perez up for game 1 against Aaron Nola, who entered play with the second most wins in MLB. Perez continues to struggle. Outside of his start against Cardinals a few weeks back, 2024 has been rough for the veteran southpaw. He allowed 6 runs off 7 hits in just 3.2 innings of work. 3 of those runs came courtesy of a pair of home runs that just evaded the reach of Reynolds in left field. We got to get him doing the O'Neill Cruz arm stretching challenge. But Perez overall just did not look good. The Bucks somehow managed to get to Nola, knocked 4 runs off 6 hits through 5 innings. I think it's only the 4th time this season Nola's given up 4 or more runs in a start. And then they gradually chipped away against the bullpen, leading to a walk-off RBI single by Nick Gonzalez, bottom of the 9th. Reynolds and O'Neill Cruz each had 3 hits and 2 runs scored, while Rowdy Tellez had an MLB record-tying 3 sacrifice flies to lead the team to an 8-7 win. Very surprising on that. Saturday was all pitching. Luis Ortiz, another dominant start. 7 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, 0 runs allowed. Meanwhile, Kutch and Cruz each homered. Aroldis Chapman struck out all 3 batters he faced in the 8th, and David Bednar worked around a home run by Bryce Harper to finish off the night as the Bucks took game 2 by a 4-1 score. And then Sunday, the offense just fell off. Marco Gonzalez on the mound. He managed to keep it together for a while, but only was able to go 4.2 innings, 6 hits, 2-run ball. Phillies starter Tyler Phillips, rookie, came in with a 4.50 ERA. Minor league numbers were not good. Peripherals, not good. 6 shutout innings from him. Pirates just got 6 hits, 1 walk, shutout 6-0. Still got the series win, but less fun ending on a loss like this. Martin Perez, he now has a 5.61 ERA, 1.66 whip through 77 innings this year. He is projected to stay in the rotation for at least another turn. What are your thoughts on Perez and his role on the team outside of trying to dump ice on the winning players?
Yeah, his hot start really, cooled down. He looked pretty good at the beginning of the season. I mean, his role is probably still that veteran presence, kind of that Rich Hill-ish role from last year. But he's got to be more consistent than what he's been.
I didn't love Rich Hill's presence in the clubhouse overall.
Well, you might not
Um,
have, but
I
I'm talking to Oviedo, and you
he
don't know
did
what
work with
happens
Oviedo on his
like
curve.
behind
Yeah,
the scenes. That kind of stuff is what I'm more talking about.
yeah. On the other side, though, Ortiz lowers his ERA on the season to 2.57, and his starter ERA through 24.2 innings, which I think is 4 starts, 5 starts. I'm not sure. He is at a 0.73 ERA. So I think he's more than earned a role in that rotation. You were talking before how like Priester is an option, even though he's been used out of the bullpen. Marco Gonzalez wasn't terrible today. I think most of his starts have been like 4 or 5, like 5, 6 innings, 2 runs. And that's okay. Like you would take that. But
Yeah,
then you've got Keller, you've got Skeens, Ortiz, Bailey Falter comes back eventually. Jones comes back eventually. Yes, there is some strain on the pitching depth right now, but like we're also starting to get some of these guys back. Josh Fleming also pitched today. Think he's probably gone when Barucki is back, as long as he doesn't have any more flare-ups. I'm okay with his control is just awful. Walk the bases loaded, got a 3-2 count to Trey Turner, I think, before getting him to ground out. Didn't like walk all the guys to load the bases, but really thought he was going to walk in another run when he was on there. But what are your how has Ortiz looked in your mind?
I think he's definitely earned a shot at being put in the rotation for probably the rest of the year. Did you have Priester who can kind of take over that long relief role that Ortiz has been filling,
Mhm.
and you can even have Priester as a spot starter like Ortiz has done throughout the season. So I, he's looked lights out basically.
I think Priester could do long relief, or he could do like a bulk with an opener. So you get like Majinski, or even when Barucki comes back, have Barucki open for him. I didn't love Fleming opening for him because he's just going to walk everybody. But um, I I think that Priester is getting really close. Don't I don't know what his ceiling is, but he's closer to getting it than he's been. The slider's just so good. I've been a big on Quinn for a while now. But yeah, 2 out of 3 from the Phillies. Obviously, would have been great to get a sweep, but
I think I called that like last week in predictions.
it was tough. Because you didn't know who was going to be in the rotation, who was going to be the starters for either side. I think we kind of figured it was going to be like Wheeler. Like we got to Christopher Sanchez. Brownie called the Kutch home run. He's like, Sanchez gives up no home runs, and then next pitch Kutch hits a home run, and I'm like,
I don't think that's him
he's gonna
calling it. I think he jinxed
no,
him.
yeah, that maybe. But he's basically saying like, oh, he hasn't given up a home run in a while. Like how him and Caps wear the upside down hats and stuff. Um, which whatever. I actually, I'm maybe in the minority here. I love how big of fans they are, like Brownie and Caps, and I assume Block. It's hard to tell with his monotone, but like that they get so into this stuff because they're not. It's not just their job. They're like, I really want to see this team win.
Yeah, I like when announcers are into it. Like I said, have you heard some of the woman that does the A's games?
Yes,
Like, oh my, people complain about something being over enthusiastic. Could you imagine having to sit through that for a game?
the one where it was like a
The
home run, and
ball
she's
is
like, "Oh,
hit deep to the right. Oh, and the A's walk it off. Like, my God, show a little personality.
yep, you can't say what you will about KY. He's not that." And he also knows the girl was like, "Oh, when it hit it over the wall, does that mean it's a home run?" Oh, okay, I guess it's a home run. Like, what are you doing? whose whose niece are you that you're commenting on these games?
Dude, the
Like
A's are in rough shape.
they're cutting costs across the board.
Yeah. I know, I mean, this is way off of what we do, but when we were talking about when we were
Yeah.
talking about when well, there was a strike for what the workers at PNC, is that last year, the year before?
What's the question?
The strike that like the concession
Oh
the
yeah, I think that was last year to start the year.
yeah. Well, apparently I saw an article where someone from the A's, like I don't know if he helps seat people, whatever his job is. He was saying he's worked for them for 20 years, and he was informed that they don't have a job for him when they go to Vegas, which apparently is like 70 miles away.
Vegas is set.
I don't
You
know.
mean Sacramento? There's no
Maybe
way
that.
Vegas is
Yeah,
70
not
miles away
Vegas.
from
It was
Oakland.
Sacramento.
Okay.
Yeah, it was for
I'm
next
like,
season. But yeah,
I've
they were
got my
like,
little map up there. I'm like, wait a minute.
yeah, I guess they told him like, yeah, next year we don't have a job for you. He's like, guys, it's 70 miles away. I'll drive.
Jeez, can't pay that well. Maybe it's just the perks
Yeah,
of
I don't
going
know.
to A's games.
Just love the game, I
Um,
guess.
yeah, feel bad for those fans. They
Yeah,
got
and
some
also
really cool players, but
back to what we talked about earlier. Josh Bell hit 18 home runs.
did he?
Yeah, but he went
Okay,
against Acuna, who hit 25. So it seemed like he did worse than what he did.
okay, and that was the old rules where you just get like 10 outs or something, right?
No, that was like you have 3 minutes, swing as much as you can.
Oh, okay. Hmm. All right. Well, learned something new. Um, looking down on the farm, boy, minor leagues did not do well this week. They were loading up on losses on the road. Teams were all getting back from break, so a little rusty. Indianapolis Indians at Omaha Storm Chasers. They dropped 2 of 3 to Omaha. Game 3 just wrapped as we started recording. Luis Sessa pitched 5 shutout frames with 2 hits, 3 walks, and 2 strikeouts. I believe he used to be in the Reds organization. That name's definitely familiar to me. While G1 Bay went 3 for 3 today with a home run and 2 walks. He's got his OPS over 900 now in the minor leagues. Definitely someone who may get some conversations going. Not exactly to start with the Pirates, but maybe somewhere else. Indianapolis drops
He's
240
consistently
and
been good in the
51.
minors. Sorry.
And just can't get it to translate. I know. He's where's his numbers? He's batting 360 with a 955 OPS and
Crazy.
175 at bats. But yeah, can't get it to translate. The speed's great. He's got 11 stolen bases. Would think maybe more, but just can't get it to work there. Altuna's got some interesting stuff going on. They were at the Somerset Patriots. They got swept in their 3-game series. You're going to see this a bit. Po Yu Chen, Thomas Harrington, talked about them. I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago, but they each had excellent starts again this week. Chen tossed 6 shutout frames, 4 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. Harrington, 6 innings, did allow 1 run, 3 hits, no walks, and 10 strikeouts. Second straight start where Harrington struck out 10 hitters. The Curve are now 39 and 51 this season. Jumping down to Greensboro at the Hickory Crawdads, Hoppers were swept in their 3-game series as well. Tremar Johnson went 4 for 12 on the week with a home run. He's currently running a 15-game hit streak, completely washed away that cold start. He's bumped his slash line to a 247, 395, 405 mark. Need that slugging to get higher, but the Hoppers dropped to a 55 and 34 record. And finally, Bradenton at the Tampa Tarpons. Can you guess? They were swept in their 3-game series. Carlson Reed pitched 4 shutout frames in his start this week, 2 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, while Shaylin Polanco and Ralph Kiner Delgado, that Ralph's not real, each hit a home run for the Marauders in games this week. They now drop to 38 and 52 on the year. We did get a promotion this past week. Hunter Barco was promoted from Greensboro to Altoona. He pitched 3 scoreless in his debut there today with 1 hit, no walks, and 5 strikeouts. So finally starting to see some of the guys moving up. Hopefully, we've got this pitching factory down in the minor leagues. again, kind of going back to our initial conversation. Oh, it's great to have Domingo Herman pitching depth, but then you also look at, oh, we've got some really cool pitchers down there.
Right, they're just in the lower levels.
Well, yeah, in Altoona at least is
Yeah.
where a lot of them are. There's not much at Indy. Um, I don't know if anything else really sticks out from this past week. I mean, we were joking in before we started recording. Jamar Johnson is earning himself a trade piece. He's he saw his position drop on the MLB Top 100, which just today added another Pirate, Braxton Ashcraft, with the graduation of whoever it was, is now the 100th ranked prospect per the MLB pipeline, which is cool. Even though he keeps going on the 7-day IL, I think he's currently on there now. But like Ashcraft is great. That's smart. Good job, guys. I don't know if there was anything else. Anything else in the minors? G1 Bay also could make himself a neat trade piece.
Yeah, he could be a nice player to throw in there.
I like how we need offense, and we're like, all right, let's trade
Let's trade
these
bats.
hitters. Let's only trade. We've got all these arms: Bubba Chandler, Thomas Harrington, Po Yu Chen, Braxton Ashcraft, Carlson Reed. Like, man, so many good pitchers.
Yeah, I don't want to trade any of
So
them.
I know you got to trade somebody if you're going to
Yeah.
trade. And Charrington, well, yeah, today's Sunday. He was talking on his weekly radio with 93.7 about what their approach is going to be for the trade deadline. And he said, we don't have specific positions that we're targeting. We're not just looking for bats. We're not like searching for a specific player. We're just trying to make the right deals. And I'm like, that is such a Charrington thing to say.
Yeah,
Every time.
I saw someone complain. They're like, just watch Sherrington's interview. Like he literally talked for a half hour and said absolutely nothing.
And you're like, yeah, man, you should
I'm
have been
like,
at
yep,
Pirate Fest.
sounds about right.
Them's the days. But they did have a fun week last week because we did our 3 days of draft. Didn't really go how we expected. So let's go ahead and jump into our special this week because it's going to be on the draft results. The Pirates went prep heavy over the first 2 days of the draft, taking high schoolers with 4 of those first 5 picks before switching to college selections for 15 of the final 16 picks. Many outlets have commended the aggressive approach by Charrington, as first rounder Connor Griffin, a high schooler, has some of the highest upside in the entire draft class, while comp A pick Levi Sterling, only 17, he's hitting 94 on a fastball with a solid pitch mix of curve, sweeper, changeup that have earned some high praise. Second rounder Wyatt Sanford is reportedly one of the best defensive shortstops in the class, with plus speed and some upside. With the bat who is the son of a former Pirate, Chance Sanford. He only played a handful of games for the Bucks in the 90s, so unlikely he made much of an impression on too many fans. And then fourth rounder Eddie Reinders, shortstop with plus raw power. Probably doesn't stick it short. The arm and back to play at third. He's 6'2", 195 pounds, so there's room to add to that frame and continue to develop more as he grows in the system. But those were the main prep players they got. They did select somebody with their 20th pick, Taylor Penn, a pitcher from Woodford County High School. But I mean, that's sometimes you just kind of throw one in at the end. Ed, your thoughts on them going prep heavy? We haven't seen that, and I think the expectation was that they would go with we talked last week that they would go with someone like James Tibbs or one of the other college bats that maybe would have been under slot, but could have moved up a little bit more quickly.
Yeah, I was very surprised they went as prep heavy as they did. Because it's, as you said, we were thinking, you pick a college bat that could be there in maybe 2 years, if not
Mhm.
sooner. With how the offense has struggled, and instead they went with a bunch of very young men, I guess we'll call them.
Yeah. Oh, Sterling's 17. He's a little boy. He's a child.
He's not a man yet.
So, I mean, sometimes these have worked out. Sherrington has picked some high schoolers in the past. I think it was just surprising. You think back to some of these drafts, he has typically gone college heavy. Termar's been the only high schooler that he's gone first round on. But like he's got Michael Kennedy was a high school pick. Jared Jones, obviously.
Bubba
Odie
Chandler.
Kellington, Bubba Chandler, Anthony Solomito, Lonnie White Jr. Yep. I mean, that was a great
Braylon
draft
Bishop.
class. Braylon Bishop was 16th round back in 21. 16th or 17th. It was around there. So, yeah. There weren't a lot of like big swings in the later rounds. As far as like top 100 picks, they did get some big swings from those college picks in the early rounds because left-handed pitcher Josh Hartle out of Wake Forest, he was a preseason first-round projection, had some struggles this year, really dropped his stock as the Bucks managed to nab him in the third round. They also got outfielder Will Taylor out of Clemson. He dealt with some injuries. He was a multi-sport athlete in college, missed some time due to a knee injury, I think 2 years ago, and then missed most of the season this year with a broken left wrist that he suffered in April. But he performed really well in 23. 362, 489, 523 triple slash, had first round upside. I think the expectation was that he'd be like at least late first round. We're hoping that being able to focus on one sport will keep him healthy on the field. Maybe he can replicate some of those excellent numbers. So those are some of the bigger, like these are guys who could have been first round if they had the kind of season this past year that they had the previous year. Do you have any thoughts on Hartle or Taylor and them kind of being able to take them where they did in the third and fourth rounds, or third and what did I say, sixth round?
Well, I'll go with Hartle.
Fifth.
Like you said, like preseason, he was almost locked as a first-round pick. So, as much as it sucks to see him struggle, it's cool that he like was able to drop to, I believe it was third round.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously the scouts saw something that they feel like they can fix. I'm not sure what his downfall was this year. I'm assuming control because that's usually how it goes.
Yeah, he was just getting hit hard. I think his ERA jumped from like it jumped to like 5 point something. I don't have
Yeah,
the
I know
exact
about
numbers
pretty
in front of me,
there.
but he's got a lot of pitches, like fastball tops at 94. He's got an upper 80s cutter, low 80s slider, mid 80s changeup. Like that all have varying levels of development, but some upside. For a third rounder, like, maybe he doesn't develop into a top line starter, but maybe he becomes a mid rotation guy. Maybe he's a trade piece. Maybe he's like, we've got a lot of arms, but
And he
you
played
can't
for
have enough.
a good program in a tough conference. So
Did Wake Forest make the championship, or were they like up there? Do you know? If you don't know, that's fine. I have no idea.
last year,
I think
they made the championship, right?
that's what. No, I think it was LSU versus Florida, because like that was like the big thing. It was Langford versus Cruz and Skeens.
Oh, that's right.
Right? Yeah, pretty sure. I think Wake Forest at least did well. We are very educated. We're so informed. So, but I like the upside there. Taylor, a lot of injuries that have been a problem. Football, he did wrestling. I think he also played basketball like one season. Like the kid just wanted to do everything. He declined first round money in 2021 because he was like, hey, I'm adamant about going to Clemson. And he was drafted by the Rangers in the 19th round. And he's like, definitely not doing that, guys. Bye. but he tore his ACL in his right knee as a freshman, had 2 surgeries, and then last year as a sophomore, 2023, put up that great year, but then like he was slowed a little bit and had that broken left wrist. I don't know. I think that there's definitely some upside there with hopefully some continued health and pro level development. So we also had a couple other well-regarded picks. I'm just going to go ahead and touch on them quick. Don't know if I'm even pronouncing the names right because I didn't spell them out phonetically. Right-handed pitcher Matt Ager out of UC Santa Barbara in the 6th round. Down year in 24, dropped his stock, but he's got 4 pitches, good control of them. Left-handed pitcher Connor Whitegriff out of Minnesota, 7th round, 2.77 ERA in 78 innings. He was selected first team All Big Ten. For what that's worth, again, for as much as we follow college baseball. Shortstop Ducey Gorson from UCLA in the 9th. Plus contact skills, excellent plate discipline, not a ton of power, but he's not going to be like a Mitch Jeb slap hitting type. He can find the barrel, works to all parts of the field. So that I believe that when I had Corey on a couple weeks ago, he mentioned him because he messaged me after he got picked. Like, oh yeah, I'm so excited he got picked. I'm like, I don't know much about this guy, but I'll look it up. I'll look stuff up. And then 12th round pick Camden Janet, catcher out of Illinois. He had the 3rd lowest strikeout rate in D1 play last year while batting .356 with a .973 OPS from behind the dish. Not sure he sticks at catcher. His receiving skills, I think, were rated a little bit like fringy, but he can get some work there. I mean, if he goes to the outfield, if he's first base, I mean, he's going to, if the bat plays, they'll find a spot for him. So, Ed, overall, not the type of draft we expected, but what are your thoughts on the one that we got?
I mean, we're not going to know for a few years, honestly. I said I think we did.
Yeah.
I think we were able to steal a couple of these picks just because they came on a bad year.
Sure.
So, but yeah, really, I mean, only time's going to tell. Like, we keep mentioning we don't follow college baseball that much. So none of these names really like jump off the board to me. It's not like last year where you had multiple guys you were like, well, he can go number 1 or he can go number 1. I wouldn't mind taking him at number 1. So
yeah, it's definitely different when you don't have like that first overall pick. Connor Griffin, I think, is an exciting prospect, and we'll see exactly how that turns out overall. But the name of the episode this week is Bring on the Gauntlet. I wrote an article for SteelCity.com last week about the upcoming stretch of games where we're just only facing teams with winning records who are currently either have a postseason, like a would be in postseason if it ended today, or are in pretty good position for it. Phillies this past weekend, Cardinals, Diamondbacks, Astros, Diamondbacks again, Padres, Dodgers, Padres again, like Mariners after that. Like, this is a tough stretch of games.
can I tell you how much I hate the Astros?
Because they're good again.
They're good at like what changed?
I mean, I don't know why they would have been bad in the first place. They had good. I don't want to get into another team, but yeah, they have the offense. They've got like the best offense in baseball.
Right, they were supposed to be good. They just started off really bad.
And early on in the season, Josh Hader, and this is stuff I wrote about in the article. Josh Hader and Ryan Presley both were doing horrible. They blew a bunch of games for the team, and they were supposed to be the lockdown like 8-9 guys. And since like mid-May, they've been 2 of the best relief pitchers in baseball. And their starting rotation has been pretty good. Like Hunter Brown is somebody he was awful last year, and now he had a rough start, but he's been on a really good stretch. They're a good team. It sucks, but they're just a really good team. They're not going to sell. So now
No.
they're leading their division again.
Yeah, they may be buyers.
Probably. But we're not facing them yet. We've got our 3-game series against the Cardinals at home, and then we head on the road to face the Diamondbacks on the road. So for the Cardinals series, it looks like Monday is going to be Andre Palante, who we've faced before against Mitch Keller. Tuesday will be Lance Lynn versus Paul Skeens, and then TBD on Wednesday to face, again, projected to be Martin Perez. You said 2-1 for the Philly series last week, according to you. I don't have that stuff marked down, but
I'm pretty sure I did, because I think you were like, you don't even know who's starting. I'm like, you asked me what I thought it was going to be.
Cardinals have been pretty good. They just, I think, took 2 of 3 from the Braves, splitting the doubleheader on Saturday, and then won the game today. But Phillies, Braves. Your predictions for that series, because the wild card spot, you're still a couple months away from end of the season.
Yeah, I mean,
This is
we
pretty
do
big
have
series.
two of our top pitchers going, so why not take 2 or 3 again?
And they have not 2 of their top. Lance Lynn is not good. Palante is not good. TBD is just.
I don't know. TBD wins a lot.
TBD gets traded a lot, I think, too. I like our chances in the series. I don't love Perez starting any of the games. But when Skeen's on the bump, when Keller's on the bump, you have a chance to win both of those games. So I mean, we got to be positive. We got to be positive the rest of the season, because this is a tough stretch. I'm going to be aggressive with that 2-1 as well. And then this upcoming weekend, because we got Thursday off, 3-game stretch in Arizona, facing the Snakes. It looks like it's going to be Luis Ortiz on Friday against Zach Gallen. Marco Gonzalez is projected to go against Brandon Pfaadt, who's having a pretty great season. And then TBD is going to be starting again for the Diamondbacks against Mitch Keller on Sunday. I think that it's going to be. I just saw who they had projected for that. But Diamondbacks, again, wrote about in that article, but their offense is like surprisingly good. Would have thought it was the pitching that was going to carry them this year, but the pitching's been kind of subpar. Merrill Kelly's been injured. Zach Gallen's he had some injuries. I think he got a late start to the season. They've got a 3-game set with the Royals before we come to town. Your predictions for that series?
Well, I don't love facing Gallen, because even if he's not having the best year, he's still very good. And how did you pronounce the other guy's name? Fat?
Brandon Pfaadt.
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 He was really good last year, at least in the postseason.
Yep.
I remember watching some of the games. I'm like, dude, who is this guy?
He was all right during the regular season, but it was mostly Gallen, Merrill Kelly. There's someone else. I don't remember who it was, but like obviously Gallen was the main one. But
Yeah,
Corbin Carroll's coming around.
They've got some bats that you have to worry about in that lineup.
Yeah. They've got like the 3rd best offense in baseball. I'm telling you, it's like Astros, Phillies, Diamondbacks. And I'm still surprised that it's the Diamondbacks there. Because you're not going to believe who plays second base for that team.
For the Diamondbacks?
Ketel Marte has
I was
been
going to say,
injured.
okay, so it's not Marte.
Not Marte. It's a former Pirate.
I knew. Well, I had a feeling. I don't know.
Kevin Newman.
I do feel like I saw him in a Diamondbacks uniform.
Yeah, and he's been doing well. Weird. If there's someone to face Gallen of those 3, I'm okay with it being Ortiz. Ortiz has just been really good lately. I think that's a good matchup. Gonzalez versus Pfaadt isn't terrible. And then, I mean, Keller versus TBD, I think. So going for them tomorrow, which July 22nd, is Yilber Diaz. who I don't think I know much about. Rookie? Yeah, he's only making his third appearance of the season.
Yeah, you
So
won't have much info on him.
I know. I didn't have much info today with Phillips. But yeah, I'll have my starter spotlight on him. But yeah, Ortiz, Gonzalez, Keller. 2-1.
2-1. Yeah, let's go with the series win. No sweep, but a win.
And this team won 6 straight because we won the last game of the Brewers series, 3 straight against the White Sox, and then the first 2 of the Phillies series. Longest winning streak that we had this season.
I was going to say, when's the last time they won 6 in a row?
Probably that 2018 post All-Star break run. I don't check to see how that ended, guys. I mean, the team's playing good baseball. Today, maybe excluded, but Reynolds, Cruz, before today, Cruz had, I know DiNardo with NS9 had posted about it, probably jinxed it. He had like 2 errors in his previous 32 games. Then he had 2 errors today. But he's been hitting the ball well. He's been running well. Reynolds is still hitting like it's June. Rowdy is still hitting. Hayes is hitting for average. The power is not there, but you know what? If he can get on base, it's better than he was doing. Nicky Gonzalez, I saw people commenting like, "Oh, he sucks. What? I guess he's all washed because he keeps lining out because he's hitting the ball like 101, but the center fielder
right at somebody.
On Friday he got robbed of hits like twice, and then finally managed to break through. Like just because a guy isn't hitting doesn't always mean he's doing badly. Sometimes he is, obviously, but yeah, Gonzalez has been good.
I
I don't
like the
know.
fact that we're getting productive outs now.
Yeah,
That's big. It's put the ball in play. Something should happen.
yeah. Jack Sawinski was sitting a bit the past couple days.
I'm fine with that. That's probably why they won the series.
Well, because I saw that he wasn't in the lineup today, and Connor Joe was in right field, and I assumed it was because Phillips had reverse splits and righties hit better against him than lefties. But maybe there's something going on. Maybe they're trying to give him a couple more days down to work on things and get himself right. Because you think about the numbers overall at the end of the season from 2023, and this will be my last note, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Sawinski put up great numbers last year.
Were they great?
I mean, he had some really cold stretches, but then he had some really hot stretches. It was improved from 2022. Let me go ahead and look at it. He had a 793 OPS with 26 home runs and 21 doubles and 13 stolen bases.
Didn't he have like a good amount of home runs off position players last year? Granted, that's not his fault. He can only swing against who's pitching to him, but
yeah, I don't know if that's. I mean, that's probably relevant, but
it pads the stats a little bit, makes it seem a little better than what it really is.
a little bit. Either
Nothing wrong.
way, if he can
you
get
know,
back to that form, that would be great. Because right now, what do we need? A left-handed outfielder who just doesn't suck on defense. Sawinski's not that. He's still our outfield defense is some of the worst in baseball. But if he can hit, that'd be great. Obviously. So just Jack, find that 2023. Just pretend it's Father's Day every day.
Find that one month in 2023 where you were on fire.
Yeah. Find your Reynolds June. But that wraps it up for all of us here at the 412 Double Play podcast. Thank you for joining us. You can follow me on X at 412 Double Play, Ed at @_Wassel. Check out steelcity.com for all your news and updates about Pirates from some of the top Pirates podcasters. Link is always in the description. Follow the show on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever else podcasts are found. Thank you, as always, for joining us this week. Hopefully, we're going to have a pretty brutal week this week, but we'll be back next week to talk and preview the trade deadline. But sending it off, let's go Bucks.
Let's go Bucks.
Take us away, Sawyer.
Lady Jolly Roger, dude.
Thanks.